Fries No Slaw. So I know a lot of people been asking for some tea and stuff like that, but we're gonna get into that. But first, I just want to know what made you say, Freddie, being a part of a podcast. This could be you. What made you say, like, I want to hop on this podcast with these two individuals and talk about sports and everyday life and stuff like that?
Well, first, I knew what my brand was going. I had been seeing where it was going to. So I knew that eventually I was going to do a podcast for the people. So, but I didn't understand the game. I didn't know the game. And I was just looking at other people's platforms and just hoping that they gave me an opportunity to come on there and like, you know, kind of learn the game a little bit. And then I remember them reaching out to me, asking me to come on, and I didn't know them. I didn't know them at all. So I was like, shoot, I ain't tripping on this FSU podcast. Shoot, that's straight. It ain't really in the direction that I know I'm going to take my brand in, but it'll be a good opportunity to learn and kind of conduct interviews and stuff of that nature. So I was like, shoot, I ain't got no problem with it. But as I kept going, I noticed it was like some tension, like from people around like that, I guess knew these guys. And I didn't know. I was like, shoot, bro, I don't know these people. Like, I'm just on here trying to grow. But then as I kept going, I understood like what was taking place, and it was a real problem. Like a lot of friendships I lost because just dealing with them people. Just to be honest with you.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like a lot of people don't understand. We talked about this a lot about that, and he was going through a lot about that podcast now. And he was like, bro, people keep coming to me and keep telling me, bro, these dudes not right, bro, but I just want to see for myself. He the type of person want to see for himself, so he just want to play it out. And, you know, everything revealed itself.
Yeah, I think I was just going through the process, just learning what I can learn. And you like, man, I'm not the type of person somebody come in and tell you, oh, this dude, this, that, and the third, and I automatically don't like him. Like, all right, you may have had an experience with them, but when a whole bunch of people come in, it's like,
okay, now I gotta take
it's something to this. Ain't nobody gonna just come out their way. But I'm already locked in. We already doing shows. So, and then part of it is as well, I'm new to this game.
Right.
So you got to understand too. If I want to go out and do this and show like I can do this, I got to show my value, my skill set. So that's a battle too. Do I leave now when I haven't been able to show what I bring to the table, or like what I do?
But the thing is, though, you brought everything to the table, though.
Yeah.
You brought all the big time players on. You've been on with Lee Kurt Street, DeMarcus Walker. First episode.
They reached out to D-Walk. So,
okay, they reached out to D-Walk?
Yeah, so.
It's a lot of big talent you got on that show. So
and that's the thing. Yeah, I did my part, but I wasn't never the type, I ain't never been the type to stun on nobody.
Yeah,
like, I knew I was bringing all these people to the table. It's like, all right, shoot, we building something like cool. I always been team,
yeah.
like, you feel me? So I wasn't finna stun on them, even though I knew what it was, and I saw my growth continue to happen. I knew I wasn't finna be there long. Like sometimes you just gotta go through your situation and learn the things that you need to learn, and then when that next opportunity comes, you take it. So I was just going through it and taking life for what it was and controlling what I could control. And ultimately, some things that took place forced me to leave. So
let's get into that. Like a lot of people don't know. Like everybody think it's just that one thing that made him leave, but it wasn't just that one thing. Let them know how they was playing with a big Guthrie sponsor at first. That was the #1 strike.
Yeah, see, I'm a person like I don't really get into a lot of nonsense, especially since, as you heard the story, over the past few years I just worked on getting my energy right, like coming out of that dark place. And I finally get to a place where my energy is right, my life is right, you know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest thing. So I don't really entertain a lot of stuff that gets my energy off. Definitely. So even when I knew some sideways things were taking place, like I'm not gonna allow this to throw off my energy.
Right.
So I remember meeting with Guthrie's first off, and we all on the phone together talking about the sponsorship and things of that nature and what would come with it. And then the team thing, I just remember, I think they said, like, they gave us a time frame, and then they said we would talk again, and then we showed during that time frame what we brought to the table. And I just remember all the Guthrie's meetings, suddenly, I'm not involved in them no more. So it's like, all right, I don't know what's being said behind my head. Like,
crazy.
You could say this, that, or the third,
Right,
but
crazy.
why I'm not on the phone with them no more? Like, I don't know what's being said. And I remember after I got Herb Street on, I talked with them. I was like, man, listen, we could have had this conversation a long time ago, but we've done numbers that I know y'all haven't done in the past, and I hate to be that guy, but it's business. Like, I'm putting energy towards this every single week, taking time for my family every single week, and we're having success doing it. So I could have been the guy that started on y'all and said, I need this in order to keep going. I said, no, let's split it even. So, but at the same time, you're not going to take advantage of me. And I remember going up to Tallahassee. I think we had a game that weekend against Duke, and it was canceled. And I was supposed to do a Freddie versus Food challenge. And anybody that followed me on Twitter, they know my McDonald's challenge went crazy. So I was going to do something like I ate a bucket or something. But Guthers never recognized it. And nothing against them. I understand that. But it was like, man, my team, are y'all pushing out? He was having a conversation with him behind the scenes, like, what's going on? And kind of beating around the bush. But it was a situation where I was going to have to pay out of my pocket when we got a sponsor to do this.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? So, like, no, I'm not finna do that. Like, you're not finna run me around. And I remember just a lot of different stuff. So I told him that, like, a lot of stuff hasn't been handled right. And I told him, I was like, man, listen. We were supposed to meet with them again about paychecks and things of that nature. And let's get it straight. I don't need that. Like, it doesn't pay my bills, but I am putting energy towards it. So I would like to be compensated for my work. So, and I remember them saying, like, oh, they don't have money. They did this, that, and the third. So it's kind of tight right now. They just put up a billboard for us. I'm like, man, I ain't the smartest man in the world. They put up a billboard. We done brought them some. We done brought them, like, let's just be real.
You done brought some money.
Yeah, we done brought them some money. So I was like, man, listen, if it's not done right, there's no reason for me to continue going forward. I don't do anything halfway. And I remember shortly after, I'm getting a check. When they said they didn't have any more money.
Because you text me.
I was like,
because he texted me, he was like, yeah, man, they playing with the sponsor, bro. I ain't getting the calls no more. They doing all this shiesty stuff. And I'm like, man, listen.
Yeah, and my mom.
Play it out. I say, bro, you got to talk to him. You got to go to him and go to him for real and don't play. And then he was like, 2 days later, he texted me, bro, they said the check, bro, 2 days later, bro. I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
I remember people like mentors and stuff, and then my father, he don't really get into a lot of nonsense. He was like, Freddie, I'm going to be honest with you, just knowing what I know. He's like, you're being too nice, this conversation's being had behind your back.
Yes, sir.
He's like, this conversation's being had behind your back, there's money being played with behind your back. So when we fast forward to like some of the things that transpired, like my respect for the game and things of that nature, that factors in it too. So there was a situation when we had a guy, Tamorian Terry. I guess he said they had the issues with the coaching staff, and he tweeted something, and it was viral over Twitter. And I'm gonna take like that locker room. I'm gonna take my guy outside. Anytime there's things outside the locker room that you can't speak on. But I remember in the group message, they're like, "Let's get him home." You know, it's about like the first time, and I'm chill. It's about a lot of stuff that don't get my energy off. It's a lot of stuff that don't get my energy up. But when that happened, I was like, no, you're not going to bring this man on here to mess up his career. You're not going to do that. That's one thing you're not going to do. So at that point, I had lost all respect that I still had left. And it was like, man, I can't do this. And it was every week, get this person on, get that person on. But no check came in.
No money coming.
And I'm still keeping my composure. So that just showing the growth that I've had over the years. But the last situation, when you come in and just all these different things, I remember they were trying to manipulate me a little bit, trying to push my book so that I kind of forget about the checks. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna just be honest with you. I don't tell nobody my financial situation, but my book is global now. Like, I don't need you to promote my book. You're not gonna play that game with me. So, and I remember they were trying to do that, and I was gonna have a conversation with them 1 week and let them know I was just gonna move on, no bad feelings. But then the text came out that week, and my pops had been telling like this conversation's being had behind your back, and I have been wondering why, like, you know, you're not really sure, but you suspect it. And then 1 week we had a show, and the guy he sends over a message with a guy complaining about the sound, our sound. So, but in the message, the guy is talking about, I guess, a country singer that said the N-word.
Yeah.
So one of the guy's friends in the message, he's like, "Man, nothing wrong with that. We all say the N-word when we get drunk." So I'm like,
whoa.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
whoa.
all right. And I've been, like, people have been telling me this is the type of people I'm dealing with the whole time. And I come back to the message and they're laughing. And they're like, "Oh, this is nothing big. We're talking about the country singer that said that." I'm like, "Look, your friend just said that it's cool to say that. So I don't know what was said before that or after that. But clearly that's cool with both of y'all because y'all laugh.
Y'all laugh.
Like, I don't play those type of games. Like, there ain't no pressure, but y'all good without me. Like, I ain't finna, nah, I'm good. Because if it was really love, y'all would have hit me up and none of y'all hit me up. So, so I left the podcast. One of them did reach out to me, but the other one never reached out to me. His biggest thing was he was just trying to keep the pod going. But the other one did reach out, and his friend, it was his friend, so he apologized. He checked his friend and everything. But the other one, he didn't care. It was cool with him, and he was the one that everybody has an issue with, for the most part. And I continue. I was like, "Man, listen, I know people were telling me, like, man, expose that. Because I remember sending it out to people asking if I was tripping. Am I tripping? I send it out to black friends, white friends, friends with different races and stuff, and they're like, "No, you're not tripping." Like, my white friends are like,
"No, you're not
tripping." They're like, "Man, they out of line." And I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." So I left, and I was moving forward and wasn't gonna speak on it. It wasn't worth my energy. But the thing that bothered me was when my name, like, I feel like that should have been cool. Like, you got off cool, like, without me speaking on you.
Right.
So I would have been quiet if I was done. But I continue to hear my name, like, being drugged through the mud and stuff. And only thing you got in this world is your name. Like, my reputation speaks for itself. But that's the biggest thing. I had to come back and defend my name. And it's no, like,
no hard feelings,
it ain't no hard feelings. I just had to let people know why I decided to leave the podcast. It wasn't in my best interest. And a lot of things transpired over the past few weeks that I guess people thought was funny, but it's not worth my energy. I don't laugh at it. I let people do what they do.
Right.
But what's real is gonna last, and all the goofy stuff eventually
fade out.
It's not. I remember that. So that's why I decided to leave the podcast. But it's just another situation. Trials and triumphs. We overcame that, and it's crazy because I tell you the type of energy that people had for some of the people on the pod I was with. A guy reached out to me from a major platform and was like, "Man, I wanted to write a big article on you, but I didn't want to because of the people you were dealing with. I thought that you were cool with that." So I'm like, "Damn, that's crazy." So I know now I'm realizing that limited some of my opportunities as well. So it's been a blessing, but we're moving up, and you're seeing my story just play itself out to where now we got a nonprofit building.
That's what's up.